Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Insight session of Wiseasy new product launch. And today we are going to talk about are the QR code the new changer for the fintech industry? We all know with COVID-19, people don't want to touch anything with a cash. So now people would pull out their phone and then scan the QR code and pay something. And on top of the QR code, there are lots of functions in those payment solutions. So today we got two experts here to tell us a little bit more about what they thought for the financial service and payment solution in the emerging markets. And I'm the moderator for the today. My name is Anya. I'm a tech influencer in Silicon Valley. Last 15 years, I have been helping e-commerce company and also retailers on their e-commerce and also omni-channel payment options, including helping Facebook e-commerce, and I also heads up the eBay's product team for emerging markets. And before that, I was with retailers such as Target, McDonald's, and Sears. So I'm super excited to hear about how the omni-channel and payments and all of the stuff coming together. The speaker from Latin America, and Silvana Liang, who is a QR payment manager at Mercado Libre. She has a really strong experience, not just about in QR code and payment and e-commerce, but also from entrepreneurship and financial industries. Lots of great things to talk about retailer and e-commerce. And today she's going to tell us a little bit about how she see from merchants' point of view. Silvana, now floor is yours.
Thank you, Anya. Thank you very much. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Silvana Leon, and I am business manager of QR code payments at Mercado Libre. I have been part of this great company for the past 4 years. And what is Mercado Libre? Well, it's the #1 e-commerce and fintech company of Latin America. Mainly has presence in 18 countries, operations in 8, and more than 11,000 employees. Meli has developed an ecosystem where 5 business units work together, creating synergies. We have on one side the e-commerce, we also have the fintech part, Mercado Pago, logistic units, advertising, and shops online for merchants. But now we're going to deep dive in Mercado Pago, the fintech unit, as we said, and the main reason for me to be here. I believe that marketplaces and e-commerce is growing, but Mercado Pago and payments methods and payment solutions are really exploding. In the past 12 months, we processed around $36 billion and 1.2 billion transactions. At Mercado, we offer different solutions for users. Online payment plan, credits for consumers and merchants, investment solutions, prepaid cards, and also MPOS devices such as the one as Wiseasy. And of course, we have our wallet. Our wallet is a lifestyle app. We have 20 million payers that have been using the wallet in the past month. On our app, what you can top up your cell phone, your transport card, and pay your bill on one click. This feature actually has been very fast in this past month, given the pandemic lockdown. And you can also do is send and request money to your friends, like P2P. And the main action, you can pay and collect money via QR code payments. Okay, so we launched this solution in 2018 in China first, and then we launched it in Brazil, Mexico, Uruguay, Chile, Colombia, and Peru. I lost that. There we go. And actually, we had and still have to build a network. We have to focus on developing our own site, but we also have to develop our payers. If we don't have payers, we are not going to have any sellers. If we don't have sellers, we are not going to have. And what we did, we have approaches depending on our merchant size. We made our merchants in 3: big sellers, mid sellers, and small sellers. The big sellers, well, this was the first step was working with these big brands that want to invest in the payment solutions and give the best for their clients. So now in Latin America, you can pay for your Whopper with QR code. And these serve as lighthouses for the mid and small merchants. Here you can see a mid merchants for us, and you can see like we call it this point, that's the one of the white Wiseasy is also show. Um, and okay, so these segments, medium and small sellers are my, and I believe it's where the real revolution is happening. So now you can pay in Latin America your taxi with QR, you can pay in your neighborhood store with QR, or even in a metro station to some itinerant seller there. So we are offering them the chance to digitalize their money in the simplest possible way. On the side, we have to incentive this side too, in order to change habit, right? So at first with discounts. And now what we're doing is giving ability, this possibility of to the merchants so they can offer some discounts. So now we're transitioning to a model where the incentives to change are offered by the merchants. Here you can see in the right side of the screen, actually the screen of our app. We call it the discount hub. So there you can see a discount of 15% off at Walmart, 20% at McDonald's, KFC, Wendy's. So, okay, and how do this? You can scan your QR. You can show, for instance, you can see here some examples. This is 7-Eleven in Mexico, where you have to pay a show to have movements. Where you can show your QR to a merchant will scan it, or Starbucks in Argentina. So, well, to sum up, I just wanted to show some numbers of Argentina, big case. And in the last 12 months, we had 3.4 payers. That it's around 50% of active here that actually try this, and 1.2 million sellers that dare to try also collecting their money via. And now we believe, and we at the forefront of the fintech revolution at Mercado at Latin America. We also know that this is just getting started. So thank you.
Thanks, Silvana. This is amazing. So I'm going to introduce our speaker, Mahavir. Mahavir has 15 years more in the fintech solutions. And from both the telco industry to now Wiseasy, he's seen the growth and transformation in those industries. And so today, he's going to tell us a little bit more about how he sees the payment options are changing and where the industry going, and how we'll do the best to select the payment solutions. Mahavir, I hand it to you to introduce yourself a bit and then walk us through the presentation.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you, everyone. First of all, good morning to everyone. And this is Mahavir. I am the Chief Business Development Officer, and I represent the Wiseasy Group. And today we all are here on the launch of our new product called Double POS QT, as well as to discuss on the QR, the next mobile payment game changer. So let me take you through some of the presentation which I have created to understand how the global market is reacting towards the QR payment. Just to give you an idea that mobile payments in China has been very, very successful. If we look at the stats, somewhere around about 2020 in the Q4, we're looking at 790 million people using the QR payment or the digital mobile payments. According to the data in China, 69.6% of the users use mobile payments every day. And this is really surprising because 19.7% of the mobile payment users, they use twice a week. So that is a huge progress. If someone has visited China 15 years back, you must have seen that there was a lot of cash payments involved. And if you look at the last 15 years, there has been a huge transformation right from cash to the mobile payment channels. Apart from that, if we really look at the China market, China, I'm giving you an example because they are one of the leaders when it comes to the mobile payment ecosystem. QR code payments, parking lot, senseless payments, NFC payments, paying with face, which is also the new payment method, which has come down in China, especially face payments. These are some of the payment methods which have widely been used in China as of today. And QR payments, it actually contributes to somewhere about 78.4%. Some of the use cases where Wiseasy has contributed in this growth in China has been with Huawei, where Huawei has been using the QR not only on the payment side, but also on the inventory management side and also on the stocking side. We also have some of our customers in China who have been using some of our solutions like WPOS Mini on the catering side. We have customers on the fruit retail side. We have parking and hotel industry, which is also very big now, and even on the sports side. One of the use case in the hotel industry is that we have some hotels where they are also issuing the NFC keys for the door lock using the same point of sale terminals, and also accepting QR payments on the same POS terminals, and also the bank card payments. So basically, all the payment methodologies are all adopted onto one smart POS device. That's where Wiseasy comes into picture. Now, if we really look at some of the growth in the emerging markets, where we see Latin America, huge potential. If we look at Africa, huge potential. As per the study of which is in 2020 by MasterCard, they say that in Latin America, the bank card or the bank account penetration stands at around about 55%. And credit card penetration is just around about 19%, as compared to the smartphone penetration, which is around about 70%. So there is an immense potential in terms of the mobile payments. When I say mobile payments, of course, it is more on the QR side as well as on the NFC side. And that is where we see that there is new emerging startups as well as new service providers which have come out to adopt this kind of technologies in Latin America. If we talk about Africa, again, yes, 34% of the population has the bank accounts. As we all know that the bank penetration is pretty less in Africa, and 44% have the mobile phones, out of which 50% are all smartphones. So, there has been a huge adoption, transformation, especially from the cash to the digital payments. If we look at one of the very big example of M-Pesa, which has transformed, immensely in the last, 7 to 8 years. One of very big use case which we created in Africa was with the Petrom, which is one of the gas or the petroleum industry, which has the gas retail outlets everywhere in Morocco. And in fact, QR has been one of the payments, even for the gas, which has been adopted over there. And again, Wiseasy products have been used in the Moroccan market. Of course, Wiseasy has already penetrated and has its roots within the Latin America market now, with some of our very known customers, especially with Gertec in Brazil, Clip in Mexico, Senior Pago in Mexico. We have Scantec in Uruguay. We have Caropagos in Venezuela. Brazil has been one of our very big marketplace where we have many, many customers, right from acquirers and banks who are using some of our products. If we look at some of the videos also, what we have, which I won't be able to show it right now, but it's especially for the people once they receive the presentation, they can actually have a look at some of the videos on YouTube. If we look at the transitions to the new, especially from Wiseasy, what exactly Wiseasy does? Wiseasy creates smart Android POS terminals. That is one of the strengths of Wiseasy. But with that smart terminals, what they have done is they have started adopting the mobile payment facilities onto the device and try to create a much smarter and cost-effective terminals for the market. Because we all know that merchant acquiring or merchant management is a very expensive affair. And with now the competition rising, with MDRs going down, almost going to zero, with new, service providers coming up into the market, lot of players, they want to make sure that their services are available on the same terminal, and that's where Wiseasy comes into picture. Apart from that, what we have also done is we've created a very smart terminal management system. There were times where you have a specific terminal management system to manage a particular specific terminal vendor. But what we have done with Wiseasy is we have created a unified terminal management system. Means today we are in a position to not only manage the Wiseasy terminals, but we can manage any terminals which are in the market, whether they are traditional terminals or they are the smart terminals, that is the next gen. And not only that, what we have also done is that we have created key injection within the terminal management system itself. There were times where to initiate a particular POS or get a merchant on board was a very lengthy process, which we have actually cut down by bringing a very smart cloud-based terminal management system. And apart from that, yes, we are also having our own payment solution suite. So right from the acquiring switch or merchant aggregation solution to wallet solutions, to voucher top-up solutions, to KYC solutions, we have it all as of now today. So we actually are one-stop shop when it comes to anything on payments. That is what we as YZZ are doing. And finally, the most important part is the application. So today we are very happy to say that, yes, we have a very strong payment application, which is completely compliant with most of the payment networks, whether it's bank card payment networks, whether it's a QR payments, whether it's Alipay, VPay, or you have closed loop payments within your country. We can integrate all of them onto the single application. So basically you have one application which can access to any kind of payments which are non-cash based within the country using one particular smart POS, and that's where Wiseasy comes into picture. Now, this is where the Wiseasy strength is. This is our entire suite of product offerings from our side. Why Wiseasy? There is a lot of questions. There are a lot of smart Android POS vendors and providers in the market. But what makes us very unique is, of course, we are partners of Qualcomm. So we use only Qualcomm chipset. Apart from that, we are also partners of Maxine, which is a security chip. That is what makes our product very secure. We have, of course, all the certification coverages on our terminals. And this is something very interesting. Over the period of time, what we understood is that a lot of people want to adopt to the smart POS because they actually are wanting to encourage the QR payments or the mobile payments. But to do that, there are still a lot of customers who have the traditional bank channel payment mechanism. So to facilitate that, what we have done is we created a one bundle where we give a smart POS or a smart Android POS, which has the means of accessing any payment channels, as well as we also give an application on top, which can be integrated to any payment methods, whether it's QR or NFC or the credit debit cards or the honors cards or anything from the bank. So, and also we can integrate to the loyalty and reward systems. So basically one application which can be addressing all different parts. So that's what it is. And of course we have many other solutions, right, from KYCs and Wise wallets and everything. But overall, the idea is that what Wiseasy wants to do is today they want to bring the digital payments into this industry, and we see Latin market as one of the booming markets to adopt to the mobile payment mechanism, and QR is going to be one of the main contributor in that. So yeah, that's all about from me and myself. Thank you, everyone.
Great. Thanks, Mahavir. I'm fascinating. I'm like kids in a candy store. I was like, that's cool. I want that. That's great. Since this time is about launching the product into the Latin market, right? So, and also Africa, emerging markets. And since you oversee so many countries on their payment solution and talking to different clients, what do you see difference between different region or different country, or between like the Latin America and the rest of other regions?
Well, what I have seen is, let me start with Asia. So, Asia market is where there has been a lot of, players who are ready to adopt new use cases using an Android smart POS. And we have seen use cases which are right from casino on the loyalty and rewards, right from hotels and even the restaurants. When we shift ourselves from the Asia to the African market, we see that biometric plays a very important role in Africa. As we all know that, Africa has a very small penetration of bank or the banking account. And and security is one of the prime importance in Africa. And there are a lot of microfinance companies or SACCOs, and that's where biometric comes into picture. So we have seen that there is a mix of biometrics along with QR payment as one-step authentication, or biometrics and the bank card payment. So that is what we are seeing in Africa. When we shift ourselves to Latin America, what we have seen is that, yes, there is a huge spurge in the market when it comes to QR, but still there is a lot of legacy payment mechanism, right from your bank card payments to the closed loop card payments, which has still been traditionally used. And people are still more open on, some countries are more open on the cash payments, and some countries are still adopting to the QR payments. So what we have tried to do is that over there, we see that customers are always looking for a very cost-effective solution, because they cannot afford to have expensive, merchant acquiring terminals, to give them smart technology. So these are some of the variations which we have seen over the period of time. Yes.
First of all, I think so. It reminds me a lot of my time here as retailers like McDonald's and Sears and Target. And those times and during the retailer, one of the challenges was to how do I educating the customers, say this is our new way, we got and the different payment solution, while the other one was sometimes there are so many different outlet, different stores, so right, so the training of the operation for the store person are also quite difficult. So I want to hear both of you where you see on those two challenges, how did you educating your operation and also customers, and what were the key challenges, how did you overcome it?
Thank you.
Okay,
I think so.
I'll start if you want.
No, carry on, Silvana. No problems.
I believe that this is the main challenge, like the operation and actually changing habit. We are not only changing habit on our payer side, you're also changing the habit for the whole crew, the whole system. So I think it's a super challenge. But I believe that this is going to work if we have all the incentive correct, right? The merchant sees a value prop on the solution. The payer sees the payer also sees a solution here, a value prop here, and of course you have to. We say it in Portuguese, atrapa o operação. Você não tem that don't have to change and make a mess on the actual operation. Because if you do that, if you slow down the queue, you're going to have a problem, right?
Yeah. So basically from my side, there are two parts to it. One is the customer side and one is the merchant side. Now, if you look at the customer side, majority of the customers, especially in Asia, Latin America, they are all smartphone users. So for them to scan a QR is very simple. But one of the biggest challenge which we saw even in India, I'm just sharing some of my experience in India, is 3 to 4 years back. That's exactly what it was. The current situation is, in the Latin American market. They used to just create a sticker of a QR, and then there would be a shop owner who would be, running from here and there, and then he doesn't know when the person has made the payment. So because of that, what we created is a product called Wiseasy, which is a QR soundbox. And what we did is that whenever there is anyone who wants to make a payment, on the payment acceptance, the soundbox will play the sound, that, oh, $10 has been paid. So, which with that, the education was very simple, because majority of the merchants, they are used to sound, they're not very used to or tech savvy, especially the labor boys who are sitting in the shop to just go and verify and validate whether the amount has been received or not. So that is one of the things which happened in India. And I will be very honest to say that, Paytm, which used to have, 100,000 merchants 3 years back or 4 years back, today has got more than 3.8 million merchants.
Wow.
So, the soundbox has played a major role for them when it is on the QR code payment acceptance. There is no bank card acceptance. It's just pure QR code. But that kind of education, showing the videos, the advertisements, making it very easy and user-friendly, because the merchant does not need to carry a mobile phone. And that is something which we have seen. And we believe that can be a game changer in many markets.
Great. Thank you so much. And the other thing I see was coming from my experience at e-commerce with eBay and Facebook, and also at when I was time at Target, we care a lot of online offline, right? We want the offline information also combined with some user experience. So we know that this online experience of the data can actually match to the offline user, and it wasn't always easy. So can you tell us a little bit more about this online offline user search 360-degree interface, and how does this payment solution can play part of the role at?
Okay. So, okay, I'll start on that. So basically, as we all know, that there are two kind of payments, that is online payments and offline payments. And online payments are basically for the e-commerce websites where you have the integrations with the payment processor and the acceptance of card not present scenario. And when you talk about offline, it is basically a bank card present scenario where you actually are going through an offline merchant network channel. One of the key part which we have seen is that in the traditional days, there was a very big differentiation between online and offline, because the offline used to have traditional point of sale terminals and a point of sale network, which was predominantly dominated by the bank card payments. And when you used to have the online, it used to be again card payments, but it was more related to, you know, the authentication on the payment gateway side. But with the new mobile payment technology coming now, you know, if you really look at QR payments or the mobile payments channels on the NFC side, they have all started being accepted on a lot of checkout bases also. Like if you even go into some of the e-commerce sites, you also have a payment mechanism by paying by a wallet or paying by the QR. So there are a lot of mechanisms which have started now. So, you know, what we are seeing is that the bridge between the online and offline has, which was widened once time, you know, has actually become shorter now. And in terms of the online users, there is, of course, a big surge in the online payment, you know, especially during this COVID times also, because there are a lot of e-commerce and, you know, activities which are happening on online payment side. But offline also, with the new smart devices coming up, the acceptance have even grown on a higher side. Yeah.
Cool, wonderful, thank you.
Yes, I believe that so, and that this bridge, yes, I believe that this bridge online and offline is really happening, right? It's the revolution when the lines start to blur, right? The different sides to blur. But and I believe, like for instance, with Mercado, we had our advantage was that our user was they already use e-commerce, right? So they were a little bit more offline, more online. So when you try to put this merchant that this payer, this consumer that also pays and uses the offline platform, it was easier for that user, right? To make bridge and this connection with the online, offline, and then you have QR code payments.
Cool, thank you. And since today we also one of our focus today to talk about is about financial institutions, right? And remember my time at Target where we all have our bank pay product, we have a credit card and debit card, and also I know Silvana has some experience in a financial institution before. Can you tell us a little bit more about the QR code application and also some payment solutions use case in the financial institutions?
Should I start? Well, I believe fintech regulation on each country changes a lot, and it's actually just getting started. Like 2 years ago, when we launched QR here in Argentina, there was no regulation for us. I mean, the regulation started to be building as we grow, so. I think it's really different here in Argentina than it is in Brazil or it is in Mexico, right? Each country have a different regulation, so it's a really big challenge. That we have to help the regulators of each country to have a good regulation. If you have a bad regulation, as we know, you can play hard for this innovative revolution, just ended with it, right? So I think the fintech regulation, it's really important. It's a matter that we have to help to shape. And also, let me say, the tax regulation, because here in Latin America, that's a really big thing. And I think we have also to look up for this to promote these digital payments in these countries.
Yeah, so from my side, I can say that, QR payment, basically there are two parts. One is a closed loop QR payment and one is an open loop QR payment. So the difference is very simple. Like you have the wallet services. What all things can you link in a wallet? You can have top-up payments, bill payments, mobile money, cash in, cash out. You can have international remittance. You can have parking tickets. You can have bus tickets. You can have sports tickets, cinema tickets. Anything in this world which is a payment service can be linked to a QR. And if it is within a closed loop market, that's where the QR is working, where a lot of service providers have started providing QR as a payment method, And when we talk about open loop payment, and that's where the interoperability comes into picture. One of the biggest example, which I can proudly say, is that like Bharat, for example, India. So there, India, they have created a Bharat QR. That is an initiative by the government of India, where they have linked all the government payment services on the single QR, which has a zero MDR. It means that today, if I can scan a QR payment, and I can go and probably go for a bus ticketing payment, I can even go for any government service payments absolutely on that QR, which is also integrated to the payment switch of the country. Similarly, Singapore launched the Singapore QR. Similarly, a lot of countries are now coming up and creating their own country QR, which will be linked to the financial institutes as well as the government bodies. So I believe that, yes, there are a lot of use cases, but one of the predominant use case, which is where the QR has been used, is especially on the e-commerce payments or the delivery on-site delivery payments. There is restaurant payments or restaurant bill payments, which are also being there, as well as the cinema tickets and the sports and all the different kind of ticketings, bus ticketings and all. But what we are now seeing is that a new method where interoperability will come into picture, where everything will be linked on a common platform, and a single QR or different dynamic QRs will be presented for making different use case payments within the country itself. Yeah.
Cool. And since now,
Exactly.
last few months,
Argentina, we are doing, the central bank is doing that. It's regulating and doing just QR for all the different wallets that you have here in the country. Yep. And Brazil is also trying to explore that. That's with the PIX solution, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Wonderful. In last few months has been quite different, right? With COVID-19, people are changing with a lot of different new behavior and new normal, and people don't want to pay cash. Can you tell us a little bit about, in the last 6-9 months, what do you see the key difference change on the consumer and merchant trend related to the payment stuff?
Well, for my side, I visited a lot of places before the COVID. I was very, lucky enough. So I went down to Europe, where I saw that, you go to a retail store and then you have a point of sale terminals and majority of acceptance of bank cards on the NFC or the chip and pin. Okay. And then when I went down to the Middle East, I again saw that, yes, bank card presentation is much more used and widely used. But as soon as the COVID came into picture, we have seen that a lot of banks have taken an initiative and converted into a QR. And that is where we see that we have got so many customers calling us and banks calling us because most of the players already have their wallet services. And until now, they used to use smartphone as one of the mechanism of, payment acceptance with the wallet cards and, the bank cards linked to the wallet, and then QR being one of the payment sphere. But that was on the customer front, but not on the merchant front. And that's where we realized that this QR soundbox has become a big, has been a big acceptance, and it has been a game mover altogether. Because I'll just give you an example of one of the so-called a known bank in Middle East. They had a wallet system, but it was not being accepted widely. And once this COVID came into picture, they wanted to have something at the merchant end which was purely contactless, so that even the merchant doesn't touch his own mobile phone. And that is where the sound came into picture, and the QR soundbox has actually killed the market. So we have seen technologies of QR soundbox or terminals on QR and NFC being highly accepted, which was not we never thought that this kind of a shift would come down into the market very aggressively, and we are seeing that yes, people have started accepting it, and people don't want to touch anyone. People don't even want to give their cards or even put the pin on the keypad. They don't want to touch anything, and that's what this thing has come. And another thing which we have seen in China is the face payments, and we have seen that some of the countries in Europe have also started initiating with the face payments, on the 3D face payments. Yeah, so these are some of these shifts which we have seen in the market now.
Definitely. And it is what I can see, it's that it's really promoting the merchants because they believe this is safe, and it has a great acceptance on the payer side too, as you said, because you're touching just your phone, right? And you're always you're not giving your card away. Here in Latin America, we still have tap and sign, so your card will go somewhere else, and then they'll just bring it. With this solution, you just touch what it's yours, and you don't show it no one else, right? So and even against cash, not only credit cards, with cash, like you don't have to touch those paper, right? And so this was really it's really growing here, and the acceptance in Latin America, I can see it, and the QR is the solution for everything, not just payment. Like it's really good. It's something great to see.
Thank you. And since today is the Wiseasy launching the product in emerging markets, and I'm curious about, for both of you oversee so many countries, right? Silvana oversees 7 countries in Latin America. Mahavir was oversee all of the emerging market was in Latin America and also Africa and based in India. Curious about where do you see the difference between either country or the region, how those things, the difference between the merchants landscape and also their customer behaviors.
Yeah. So, going through some of the markets like Africa markets, of course, the cash is dominating, in this market a lot. There is very less penetration of the banking accounts. But one of the biggest scenario which we have seen is the microfinance. Africa, any country you go, microfinance plays a very important role. But one of the biggest differentiator which we have seen in the microfinance is there are not many cards in the market. So there is not much credit debit cards. So people are more adopting towards mobile payments, especially on the QR and NFC, along with biometrics. And that is what has started being accepted. Of course, in Africa, again, when you go to north part of Africa, the bank card penetration is good. So again, they would like to have the entire smart POS with the biometrics. So biometric plays a very important role in Africa. But when we come down to the European market, there is still the acceptance of card, whether it's NFC or whether it's chip and pin. But when we go down to Asia, I think so there has been a lot of innovation, with QR coming up, with face recognition coming up. We are also seeing now that, there are markets where even in Asia, there is QR and biometrics being added up on the security part, So OTP was there, but even OTP is going out, and that biometric authentication is coming up. So there has been a lot of innovation in terms of very matured innovations in the Asian market acceptance. And of course, Latin America, Silvana is, of course, there as an expert. So I'll leave that Latin American market to her then.
Javier, I believe that it's pretty similar to some countries, right? But the bank penetration also here in Latin America, it's really poor. It actually is a little bit in some countries such as Chile, but actually Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, the penetration of the bank card, it's really, really low, but everyone has a smartphone, right? So that's where the revolution it exists. And actually in Latin America, what the people that has a credit card and they don't like bank very much. Like, you don't like it. Even if you have a card, you don't like it. You need innovation. So I think that's the great moment and place for us to actually contribute to a great value here in these financial solutions and educate. Right, we have an opportunity to actually transmit and trust. Like the people and consumers trust us and we have Javier said we're trying to know these security things. Like you can have your digital open your digital to open your cell phone or to pay, and you don't go around with your card. You have it in your cell phone. You have it safe, right? So I think we have a great opportunity to actually make a change and contribute to this optimization. When you have your money digitalized, that's opportunity that's safe and cheap. Use money, and you can, I don't know, we have, as I mentioned, of investing. Not many people here in Latin America actually know how to invest their money. So we are actually offering them also that. So you can collect your money digitally and also invest it. So I think that's a huge thing, and I hope we still do this, right, and make it good.
Great. And I from my time working in those emerging markets, and I noticed that the QR, today the topic is about QR code. And we try to do a lot of different things with the QR code in the store for not just payment, but also for different type of customer loyalty program, events, and lots of different kind of use case. So I'm wondering if you can share some stories about how companies, including digital bank, including financial institutions, and how you guys were using QR code as one of the tools for growing the business?
So probably I'll give you an example of one of the company in logistics. So there used to be a time, especially at the seaport for the logistics, they used to manually try, maintaining and managing the containers. And I think so with the new technology of QR, and especially with the, smart POS terminals, they have started adopting QR into the logistics and containers in terms of management of that. So that is a very smart use case, which we saw in Western Africa. That is where it was surprising for me. And one of the very big use case which came in picture was, from Israel for the QR payments in taxis. So just imagine that someone goes into a taxi, does not carry any cash, does not carry any cards, and just makes a QR payment. I think so that is a fantastic use case, especially for the industry. And it has been very successful. Yeah.
I love the taxi example. Like I think that's a great revolution. Like you can pay with your cell phone on the taxi. I think that's great. But I also want to share, for instance, it's a great deal with cash collections. For example, you have, I don't know, Coca-Cola company that has to distribute the Coca-Cola to different stores, and in each store the owner of the store has to pay the distributor manager with cash. So what we're doing now, this whole system, this whole distribution network, it's paid with QR, right? Because the owner of the store collects their money with QR. So that money is already digitalized. This owner pays to the truck, the logistic one that's distributing the money, and this distributor is sending the money to Coca-Cola. Probably has a lot of intermediaries in the middle, but the thing is that the whole distribution system, it's digital, so it's actually more efficient, right? But what I really like is when I see a small merchant with only, I don't know, selling through a window something, and you say, I accept credit card and debit card. I think that's mind blowing.
Wonderful. I think I learned so much today and so many wonderful things. And we know like with COVID-19 changing the world, people don't want to use cash and there's now QR code and so many other options for people to keep them secure and safe and private, as well as that helping the world being more healthy altogether. So with that, I open the questions to the floor for anyone to have any other questions for the speakers.